Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Built Not Given. I'm your host, Jake Strickland, and I was about to go down a rabbit hole, but no, I'm not. I'm not going to do it. Anyway, this is episode 20. I'm going to get right into it. We're starting out with a story. This past week, I was driving down I 85, where I wasn't driving down it yet. I was merging on I 85, and I was behind this car, or this truck, excuse me, and they were going so slow. I think they were going like 45 miles an hour. And if you know anything about I 85 and merging onto an interstate, that is just not right. You can't do that. But there wasn't really anybody on the road, so it wasn't that big of a deal, except I made it a big deal. And that's kind of what this episode's about. I think it's the realization that I had led to a bigger one, and now we're here doing a whole episode about it. So, anyway, we're in the merge lane. He's going like 45 miles an hour. It's a truck. I'm pissed. I'm thinking I'm going to be late, even though I'm going to be 20 minutes early. I mean, I was mad. But instead of just waiting it out and figuring out exactly what was happening, I jumped from the merge lane all the way over to the forehand lane, looked back at this person. I didn't know it was a guy yet. Looked back at this person with this look of just anger and, I mean, I was pissed off. I don't think I've ever looked at somebody that mad in my life. I'm sure I have. But what I realized very quickly was that guy was old. He had two hands on the wheel. He was crunched over. You know the look. But another thing I realized was that guy was the same age as my granddad. And that pissed me off even more. Because I swear, if anybody looked at my granddad the same way that I looked at that guy, I'd cut their legs off and put them in a wood chipper. That might be harsh, but they ain't going to do it. And then when I had that realization, I had another realization. And that realization was that guy's a granddad. He has a grandson. He has a son. He has or a daughter. He's got a spouse. And I was thinking, I need to go back there and get this guy's number. That way I can call his grandson and tell him what I did. That way he can cut my legs off and put them in a wood chipper. Obviously, I didn't do that because I still have my legs. But over this past week, as I've been thinking about that, as happened last Tuesday, it's been stuck in my head. And I wasn't 100% sure until I decided that, hey, I was going to do this episode. I was like, what am I going to do this week? What am I going to talk about? What do I want to do? Because I don't like to come in unprepared. Like I like to have have an emotional attachment to these episodes, because I feel like when I have an emotional attachment, they come off a little bit better and they might help people a little bit better, because I don't want you to think I'm preaching. I don't want people to think that I'm anything different than they are. Like I'm you are me. We are one. So that's kind of where this episode has led me to. Is I was looking into it and I was like, oh, this is what I want to talk about, but what I want to talk about. So then I got to thinking about it a little bit more. And I realized that the way that I reacted there wasn't just because he was going slow. I didn't get mad because he was going slow. I got mad because I attached different reasons on why he was going slow to him going slow. It wasn't the fact that we were going 45 and merging that made me mad. It was the fact that I told myself he was a bad driver. He was an idiot. He was this, he was that. I attached these different reasons to that, and that's what pissed me off. And I realized that I don't just do that, obviously, when I'm driving. I do that pretty much a ton of different areas in my life, and I believe we all do it too. And the reason I think we do that is because we don't like to not know. We don't like to not know something. And I'm thinking of a way, your boss. Let's say your boss comes into your office and asks, "Hey, what's this or this and that?" And the last thing you want to say is, "I don't know." So you kind of just BS your answer. You kind of think about things that you've done, like, "Oh, this is this, this, and this, and this, and this." You come up with 1,000,010 different answers. None of them actually matter. And being on the other side of that, the boss does know that. But we don't like to say, "I don't know." I don't like to say, "I don't know." I don't like to admit that I don't know something, because I feel like I want to know everything. But sometimes I feel we have to sit back and realize we don't know. I don't know why that guy was going so slow. Maybe he had to get to the hospital. And even though he was driving slow, I 85 was the fastest way. Maybe he just got some terrible news and he's focused on that. Or maybe he's just old and can't drive anymore. The thing is, I don't know. We won't ever know. I won't ever know unless I find him again. Then I can ask him, and then I'm sure he'll forget because he was old. And that's the same thing with your boss. I mean, you don't know, and it's okay. It's okay to not know. And that's something that's harder for me to stomach because, like I said, I like to know everything. I don't think I know everything. Yeah, I do. I think nobody can tell me anything. I know everything. But it's hard for me to admit when I don't know something. And it was something that I thought I had figured out. And on surface level, I do, because I'm very okay with telling somebody I don't know, but I would love to find out. But what I realized is that if it's not a physical one-on-one interaction, I have to attach meaning to it. I assume this happened because this happened. Or I assume that they did this because of this. I'll give you a couple examples. Somebody's not texting you back. Oh, they're ignoring me. Your boss is short with you. Oh, they're upset at me. I'm about to get fired. Somebody walks past you and you say, hey, and they don't respond. Oh, they don't like me. They're mad. They're just bad people. They're a bad person. Truth is, maybe your boss is being short with you. Not because they are mad at you, but because they got a million and other 10 things going on. And maybe they aren't texting you back because they lost their phone, or they're dead, or they're busy and they got a million things going on. Or they walk past you because, again, they just got some bad news. They're focused on that. They're thinking about something. I get caught up in it. Anybody that's been around me, I get in these moods where I'm focused on something. I don't hear anything. Some people call it selective hearing, and I call it I'm hyper focused, which is just an excuse for having selective hearing. But it's very easy to get caught up in that realm of not knowing and being uncomfortable there. So attaching a reason behind your not knowing. And I've talked about ownership on this podcast before. I'm pretty sure I've touched on it pretty much every episode. Excuse me. I thought about drinking that like really loud because there's somebody listening to this right now that absolutely hates the sound of anybody eating or anybody drinking water. And I like to mess with them as much as possible. Be nice today. But on the topic of ownership, I think part of ownership now is something I've realized is it's not just about your reaction to something. What I realize is that a lot of times we create the something that we're reacting to. I think we should, no, I know, and this is something I'm doing going forward. We have to take ownership of the story that we create. Because 9 times out of 10, we don't have all the facts at our hand. We just assume this happened because this happened. And 9 times out of 10, again, I don't think it's just me. We make ourselves the victim. Why? I don't know. I think that's a question for y'all to ask yourself. I want you to think back on a time of when you got mad at somebody because they did something that affected you. Why did you immediately go to the response of making yourself the victim? Why didn't you think of all the other ways that something could have happened? Like maybe they had something going on in their life. Maybe they had something going on here, or something happened there. They didn't intentionally do that to you, but we make ourselves the victim. So just think back on a time where you've done that. I'm pretty sure every one of us have done it in the past week. I know I have. Now, that's not to say, let me be clear, that's not to say some people aren't bad. Some people are crappy drivers. Some people don't know how to drive. Some people are just old and don't drive. Some people are bad people. Some people intentionally are out to get you. And I know that's not popular to say, but the truth is, there are bad people. There are bad seeds in this world. And if you're in a public-facing place where you talk with a lot of people, you're going to come across those people a whole lot more. And that's just the truth. But again, we're in control of that reaction. We're in control of how we react to that. Just because the story is very clear that they are a sucky person Doesn't mean that our reaction has to be bad. We can still choose to not react in a negative way. The same way we could whenever we don't know the full story, but we attach these reasons to it. Try to take a step back. We all have first thoughts. I know it's hard, and it's going to be hard. It's hard for me too, because like I said, I reacted in a millisecond. I was pissed off. But what I should have done differently, what I could have done differently looking back, and what I'm going to do going forward, because I'm thinking about it, I'm putting it in my head 24/7 now, is stop. Hold on. Do I know the facts here? Do I know exactly the reason why this guy's going so slow? If not, why am I going to get mad? What's the point in making my life miserable because I don't have an answer to something else? Yeah, he was going slow, and yeah, I might have been late. I wasn't late. I was like 20 minutes early. But just an example, maybe I'm going to be a minute late. What am I going to do? Speed past the guy, risk everybody's lives, and die? Then I'm never going to get there, and I'll be a lifetime late. Instead of getting to work 5 minutes late and talking to your boss saying, hey, man, I'm so sorry. I got behind this driver, and I couldn't get around them. They were doing this, this, and this. That's okay. You know why? Because I guarantee you that boss had something very similar within the same week. Some things are out of our control, but the reaction that we have to those are in our control. And to bring it back to the guy on I-85, he never knew I was frustrated. And he never knew the story that I had created about why he was going so slow. And it wasn't even about why he was going so slow. I created an identity of him. I made him out to be this terrible human being out to get me, making me late, doing all these negative things before I even knew who he was, what he looked like, why he was going slow. Like, I just made so many assumptions within 3 seconds that I got so mad that I jumped over 3 lanes, basically, risked everybody's life on the road, all because he was going slow. And that made me wonder how many times I do that. How many times, how many arguments have started because I assumed parts of the story that I didn't have? How many days have I started off terrible because I assumed part of a story that I didn't have? How many people have I pissed off because I reacted to something they did because I created a story about them in my head? That's what I want to leave y'all with this week. Whenever it happens, because it's going to happen to me, and I challenge y'all to do this with me. Whenever somebody cuts you off, or somebody does something stupid that affects you, or somebody asks you a question, ask yourself, what do I actually know? Not what I think, not what I assume, not what the popular response is. What do I actually know about this person? What do I actually know about this situation? Do I know exactly why this is happening, or am I just bringing these ideas in? Because if you're bringing these ideas in, then you don't know. And I challenge you to be okay with that. I challenge you to be okay with not knowing, because not knowing is not always a negative thing. Because when you don't know, it creates an opportunity to learn. And if you listen to this podcast, learning is something I'm very passionate about. And that's one of the commonalities in all successful people is they are a lifelong learner. So let's put it that way. And instead of figuring out exactly what I don't know, look for an opportunity to learn. Look for an opportunity to learn why something happened. Oh, this person did this and that. It was like a domino effect. This person did this, and it was just boom, 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 boom. Stop. When it gets to you, instead of reacting the same way all the other dominoes did, with anger or contentment or like blame this, blame that, take a step back, think, and do I know why this is happening? Do I know what happened that led us to this moment right here? And if you don't, awesome. Now's an opportunity to learn. There's your opportunity to learn why something happened. And I guarantee you, as you follow up that domino trail, you'll learn even more. But with that being said, y'all have a great week. I will see you next Tuesday. And as always, there'll be an opportunity to connect with me in the description. There'll be a link there, unless it's on YouTube. And then you'll have to go to my bio and all that good stuff. But there'll be a way. Y'all have a great week.